I've tested out all the potential builds in Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty and found the absolute best. If you liked flying through rooms, stealth, and killing absolutely everything in seconds with a single flashy attack, this is the build for you. You have extreme mobility, can remain completely undetected if you wish, do an insane amount of damage both over time and up front, all on your needs. Bosses won't stand a chance against you, plebs will be nothing but fodder that buff you up when you kill them, you move faster crouching than standing, and you'll look stylish as hell twirling your knife around and lodging it deep in your enemy's weak spots. Wait, no, I mean their head, okay? I need to fire my editor. So in this video, I'll run through what Cyberware works with this build, what perks and attributes you need, and give you a preview of what it can do. Let's start with items. This build uses throwing weapons as its primary means of damage. For those who haven't played since release, throwing weapons now have a cooldown timer, after which they appear back in your hand. You can also walk over and collect them from whatever they're lodged in. You may remember that this wasn't the case before. Before, you threw only one knife and it was gone forever. You couldn't pick it back up no matter what. So of course, I had to finish the game on the hardest difficulty using only throwing knives. It's hilarious playing the game this way and you absolutely should check it out after this. Knives and other throwing weapons are completely silent, so naturally it combos well with stealth. Most throwing knives also give a naturally high damage multiplier to headshots, so with all the other multipliers, it comes together for some extreme damage. You're going to want to craft, buy, or find a powerful knife, and that's really all you need. No point running through the legendaries or iconics, because any powerful knife or throwing axe will do. Like mentioned, your damage comes from all the damage multipliers you have, rather than the damage value of your knife itself. You can also use a nice silenced pistol for the times where your knife hasn't returned to your hand, and just by hitting fire again, you'll automatically switch to it. Let's continue the build with your Cyberware. The operating system you want to pick up is a strong Sandevistan. I'm using an iconic Militech version, which you can get from some Dogtown rippers, but there are plenty that do the job just fine. The idea is to activate it, then fly around the battlefield like Quicksilver in X-Men, but instead of crispy hijinks, you'll be lodging knives in your opponent's skulls. You'll always be critting, so any crit damage is welcomed. For 8 seconds, you might as well be immortal because nothing is moving fast enough to hurt you, and if you kill something, which you'll be doing a lot of, you'll be extending that duration. The next most important piece of Cyberware is the handle wrap. This is a hand cyberware and it makes it so you have a higher crit chance for your thrown weapon specifically, and it also gives a boost to head and weak point damage. Crit chance doesn't stack directly with other pieces of crit improving gear, so it's nice to get as much as you can. Speaking of, the face cyberware I like is the Kuroshi Cockatrice, because it doesn't just waste time with detecting enemies, but instead gives you a flat 30% crit chance with everything. Perfect for dishing out the pain. As soon as you can get it, invest in some optical camo. It makes you stealth when activated, making it harder for enemies to detect you and shoot you. Though this build doesn't need to stealth, it's nice having the option because you do more damage when you are undetected. Because we want that option, the legs to aim for is the Lynx Paws, since they make your crouched movement quieter and faster. Since you'll be doing a lot of crouch sprinting, it'll get to a point where that is as fast or faster than your normal sprinting, making you stealth around like a rocket ship with a muzzle. Then we have the iconic Adreno Trigger, which gives you a 30% movement speed for 30 seconds when you enter combat. The non-iconic version of this isn't worth it as it only lasts a few seconds, but this lasts so long you'll be flying around the battlefield just all the time. It's really worth a pickup. Then we have the Deep Field Visual Interface. It increases the crit chance the further you are away from the target, 95% at 50 meters. Most of the time you'll be getting a sizable crit chance increase with this, and it provides crit damage based on your cool attribute. Very much worth the 40 capacity. The last piece I fully recommend picking up is a Black Mamba in the circulatory system. You'll be applying poison to everything you hit based on your perks, so why not turn that into 20% more damage instead? This happens retroactively, so if a strike would apply poison, it also does 20% more damage. You do lose out on a lot of poison damage over time, but you'll be killing so fast that you rather rely on your massive crits. Now let's go through some honorable mentions. The Mechatronic Core is first because turrets and mechs are just a pain, and being able to dispatch them with a single knife will often save you from being detected. Though really this is just a luxury, as you don't really care much if you are detected. You have so much maneuverability and no one will be able to pin you down. You can also get the Kreznikov, which slows down time when you do flashy slides, dashes and dodges, and the Kreznikov boost system to improve it. If you find yourself using knives in melee often, getting Dense Marrow will improve that damage and reduce the stamina cost. And those are the recommended pieces of cyberware. There are plenty that will be useful, like the blood pump and the biomonitor, but the ones mentioned should be what you aim for. But now it's time to discuss attributes and perks. In terms of attributes, you want to max out your cool stat first, and after maxing out cool, you want to max reflexes or technical ability next. Reflexes if you want the maneuverability and dashes, or technical ability if you want to equip more and better cyberware first. Either way, reflexes gives you more crit chance and cool gives you more crit damage, which the build desperately needs. In the cool tree, you want to follow the path I've taken here. Ignore the pistol and sniper related perks and instead go for stealth and the knife related ones. Killer Instinct makes it so when you're undetected, your knives, axes, and silenced guns deal 25% more damage, meaning that this is the point of being stealthed after all. Quick Getaway will stack and start making you move quicker and quicker after neutralizing an enemy while undetected, making you move so fast on your knees that if this assassin gig doesn't work out, you should hit Jig Jig Street and make a killing in another way. Scorpion Sting makes it so your thrown weapons poison targets when you hit the head or weak points. Juggler is ultimately what you're aiming for, and it makes throwable weapons much more consistent. With 3 points here, you get your thrown weapons back to your hand instantly after you neutralize an enemy with a throwable via a headshot, crit, or poison, which you do all 3 of. So you'll be throwing and instantly getting your knife back, throwing again, and repeat. This really does beat how throwing weapons were in Cyberpunk 2077's release, as I showed you before. Then with Finisher, Act of Mercy, and Pounce, you gain the ability to do ultra long range finishes with your knife. If you threw one into a target that didn't die, you'll leap to them and pull the knife out, finishing them off. If they're simply low, you'll leap and stab them to death. If the former, you'll be collecting back your knife and therefore will be getting the 200% damage boost from Pay It Forward, and yes, that is an insane amount of damage. Then with Style over Substance, you'll have further reason to stay in crouch. While you crouch sprint, you'll be always critting with throwable weapons. This also applies to dodging, dashing, or sliding. Yes, always critical hitting for simply doing what you'll be doing anyway. You see, with ninjutsu at level 3, you'll be able to sprint while crouching. You'll also take less damage while crouching, so combined with feline footwork, crouching is legitimately the best spot to be, as you'll be speedier, take less damage, do more damage, and always be critting. With Vanishing Act, you'll also get active camo when crouch sprinting or sliding, so yes, you'll be ultra elusive as well. Combine this with the relic perks, emergency cloaking, and sensory protocol, and you'll have a hard time being seen for long. And then we have the choice of tech or reflexes. In tech, you want to rush to the Edge Runner perk for the crit chance and damage boost increase when you rage. All of the rest of the skills you see here make it so you can equip more cyberware and they provide more boosts. Over in the reflexes tree, you want to be as slippery as you can, so get the core perks Slippery, Dash, Air Dash, and Tailwind. Now, if you have better reflexes than the ancient gamer I am, you'll be able to dash, dodge around, line up the perfect headshots with time slows from Koreznikov and Sandevistan, keeping mobile and crouching, adding a ton of mitigation, and you'll become a fairly damage-resistant ball of pain. But just to make sure you stay alive, dump your extra points in body, getting 3 points in Adrenaline Rush to make you a bit tankier and do a bit more damage when you have that adrenaline bonus health, including even more movement speed, becoming unstoppable, and getting more damage. Yes, you basically have all the movement speed related perks in the game. And that's everything you need to complete this build. So how does it play? Even more simply than my latest Doom Guy build, which you absolutely should check out. With this, you simply need to start off fights crouched in stealth. You can open with active camo and try to stealthily take down enemies, or you can hit your Sandevistan and fly around the battlefield lodging knife after knife in people's heads. Try to keep your range from enemies, but don't be afraid of using your finisher to close the distance and lodge another knife at an enemy. Hit and run. Don't linger next to enemies too long, and be sure to dodge around. Stronger enemies will take more than one knife, but will quickly fall to your finisher. Remain crouched even when detected and sprint around. You'll be taking less damage, dealing more, and moving faster. If you ever find yourself without a knife, you could always wait the very short cooldown for it to spawn back in your hand, or you can walk over to where it landed to pick it back up, then follow up with a melee attack for bonus damage. Else you could just get better at aiming at their heads. Don't be afraid to throw your knife at max range, and that is everything. What do you think? Does this build speak to you? Let me know below. And for everything RPG, you're in the right place. Ciao, friends.